Chapter 80, Halacha 8. In the Maznayim Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, it's page 82. We're learning the book of the summary of the Code of Jewish Law, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, chapter 80, Halacha 8. Simin Pei, Halacha Ches. Okay. Just to clarify a little from last class, we were going about the laws of kneading. There's making charosas on Pesach is allowed to be done on Pesach. However, if Pesach falls on Shabbos, then you should make the charosas before Shabbos in order to not be mixing the wine with the other ingredients of the charosas. That's if Pesach falls on a Shabbos. This year, Pesach's on a Sunday. You don't have that concern, so it's fine to just make the charosas on the night of the Seder. If the night of the Seder falls on a Shabbos, you should make it before. If you forgot to make it before, then you have to add in a lot of wine to make it be a mixture that is more of a thin paste, more battery, and you have to do it in a reverse order. If you usually pour the wine on top of the charosas ingredients, the apples, the pears, the nuts, you should first pour wine into a bowl and then put the apple, pear, nuts inside. And you should mix it in a different manner, whether with your finger or a crisscross, using the back of a spoon. Yeah, so those are the ideas.
So I'm not mute. So are you implying that some of these laws which we have to obey on Shabbos we're free not to obey on a Yom Tov, which is a weekday
Yes.
Yom Tov?
If certain things that are going to be that are connected to cooking for preparing food, they have a different. They're permissible to do on Yom Tov.
Oh, yeah.
It's more complicated, but in this case, that's the case.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, and as I mentioned, different things that they're going to be mixed together. You should be careful not to do it. You should make sure to make it before Shabbos, whether it's making egg salad, tuna, avocado, baba ganoush, I would say as well. Pudding, and also there could be making playing with Play-Doh is also a problem because of the idea of kneading. Just the fact their hand moving, playing with it is would be forbidden. Pudding. Yeah. Okay. So now let's move on to the next halacha. Halacha 8 in chapter 80, halacha 8. So anyone here have a plant fruit in the backyard? Have fruit trees in their backyard or in the past?
We have an apple. Yes, we have an apple tree here.
Okay.
And in our home in Denver, we had apple trees and pear trees.
Okay, so this is more of a halacha that has to do with people that have trees in there, have fruit trees in there, have to do with fruit trees. So it's more just pointing that out. What is it permissible? So here's the question: is it permissible to, if a fruit falls off let's say apple falls off? You said you have an apple tree. If an apple falls off the apple tree, could you eat that apple on Shabbos? Would it be permissible to eat that apple on Shabbos?
I hope
What do you
so.
think, Thomas?
Well, the book says no, so Gloria says she hopes so.
Uh-huh.
I used to do it all.
There's a contradiction.
Uh-huh. Okay, so the book says no. So what do you think the reason that is correct? What do you think the reason that it would be why you can't have a fruit that falls off a fruit tree on Shabbos?
Well, you're picking it up, so that's a form of work.
Yeah,
What would be the work in picking it up?
Well, that's the only thing I can. I
Right.
can
Okay.
assume
That's a
would
good,
be
good
the
guess.
problem.
Okay.
the work is reaping a harvest. When you.
Very good
when you
point.
reap
You're,
from a
you're
tree.
bending over and lifting it.
Okay. So I like the point that Miranda made, that your reaping is one of the is a forbidden labor.
Oh,
So
and I said
you
picking
you
it up.
didn't actually reap over here. The food just fell off, but there's the concern that it might lead you to reap. If you're gonna take a food that apple that fell off the apple tree, it might lead you to take another apple that's still attached to the tree, that's still hanging on, that's still on the tree. So it's a extra precaution that the rabbis made. Another reason for not allowed to take the apple, which is because that something that on the beginning of Shabbos, when Shabbos came in, was connected to the ground, and since the tree is connected to the ground, so everything on the tree is connected to the ground, is forbidden to be handled on Shabbos.
No.
So anything that comes from a tree would be forbidden to. Anything that's connected to the ground is forbidden to move on Shabbos, to be handled. So this is more encompassing. It's not only to fruit; it could be other things that are on a tree. If one has, if a leaf falls on the tree, that's also not allowed to be handled. So we're gonna.
What, you're reaping a leaf?
What?
Well, the apple, you said it's because you can't reap, but nobody reaps leaves.
Right. So there's a second reason why that you're not allowed to have an apple that falls off a tree, and that's because something that's connected to the tree is forbidden to handle on Shabbos. You're not allowed to move it on Shabbos.
I didn't know that.
So even a leaf, even though there's no concern of reaping a leaf, but because there's a concept called muksa, which means it's set aside. That's the literal translation. But the idea of muksa is that some things we call, maybe you've heard of this, the word on Shabbos, there's things that are muksa.
Yeah.
So one of the ways some things is muksa is if when Shabbos came in, it was connected to the ground. So since the leaf was on the tree when Shabbos came in, it would be forbidden to move it on Shabbos. So,
So if it fell on the ground Friday morning before Shabbos, then Saturday morning, can you pick it up and eat it?
Oh,
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
You
okay.
could eat the apple on Saturday morning. Yeah. So
Rabbi
leaves,
Lipset?
I want to just mention one more point, Phyllis, and I'll take the question. So what you have to be careful with leaves, I don't know how, in fall, it's very common that leaves are falling off the tree.
Right.
And if they fall onto you, you shouldn't move it in a regular manner. If you're able to move it in an unusual manner, that'll be better. That's what you should do. So if you're able to, if a leaf falls onto your shirt, let's say, or onto your hair, or anywhere on you, if you're able to shake it off without actually picking the leaf off your shirt, that would be better. Okay. Yeah, Phyllis, what was your question?
Yes, a lot of times, the children are playing ball. And I think they're probably able to do that on Shabbat if they just tossing it to each other. But if they have like a you know, it's a big inflatable ball, for example, and it lands on the ground, then they have to let it stay there until after Shabbat?
Oh, stop.
Okay, it's a different topic, but we're not really discussing this now.
I'm sorry, I thought it was related to the ground. That's why I raised the issue.
Oh, you're saying
It's related to the fruit in the tree. She's entirely.
the ball isn't connected to the ground. It's only when it's actually connected. It's only with things that are connected to the ground that you're not allowed to move it.
So same thing would be if it bounced against the tree. No mishaneh, doesn't matter. It
You'll
by
you'll
itself.
still be able to move the ball. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's see this halacha inside the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Peirish nimsu tachas ilan, fruit that are found under a fruit tree. Asur nafilu b'toltol, it's forbidden even to move the fruit. Shema nafnu ayim, because maybe it fell today. And as Gloria mentioned, if you know for sure, if you know that the apple fell off the tree on Friday, then it's permissible to move it. It's only if you're unsure if and it's possible that and there's a doubt, perhaps the apple fell off the tree on Shabbos. Yeah.
Can you ask a Shabbos goy to pick it up off the ground and give it to you?
So the question is, what are you going to do with it? I'm saying the Shabbos guy is allowed to move it.
You're gonna eat it.
So then there's still the problem of it might lead you to go and detach to reap another apple.
Oh,
That's what yeah. And so that's yeah. What's her name?
I'm Andrea. I'm sorry. My husband's
I see on your screen Jay. I just wanted to make sure.
my husband's right here. He's Jay, but I have the question. I'm Andrea.
Go ahead, Andrea.
Thank you. I'm a little confused because Gloria asked if the apple fell on Friday morning, which isn't Shabbat yet.
Yeah.
She leaves it until Saturday morning, which is Shabbat, right? Until Saturday night. But you said you could pick it up on Saturday.
You're able to pick it up on Saturday because it's the fruit fell off before Shabbat. So,
And if the fruit fell off Saturday morning, you noticed it was on the ground? She couldn't pick it up then? She had to wait till Saturday night?
if the fruit fell off during Saturday, then you would have to wait till Saturday night.
Okay, but if it fell Friday morning before Shabbat, she could pick it up on Shabbat on Saturday,
Yeah.
but not Friday night.
If the fruit fell off the tree Friday night, it's already Shabbos, so it would be forbidden to.
But if the fruit fell Friday morning, could she pick it up Friday
night? Yes, she could pick it up Friday night.
Yeah, he's got to fill.
Because
If you
it's
know for
already
sure, go before
detached
Shabbat.
prior
Pick it
to
up.
Shabbat. That's the reason it's not.
Okay, so now let's continue in the halacha. And likewise, all fruit that is by a Gentile, if there is a doubt, perhaps that the fruit was reaped on Shabbos, it would be forbidden even to just move the fruit that the Gentile is giving you. Now let's go to halacha 9. Halacha 9, we're going to discuss about honey that comes from what is is one allowed to take honey out from a honeycomb on Shabbos? Let's see. Asurim lirdes tvash hamachuber b'kaveres it is forbidden to remove honey that is in a beehive. You're not allowed to take honey that is in a beehive. V'chein asur l'rasik chalis dvash afilu nitnasha esmo makavaras. And likewise, it's forbidden to crush a honeycomb, even if the honeycomb was removed from the beehive before Shabbos. It was removed from the beehive on Friday. It's still forbidden to crush the honeycomb. What's the reason why it's forbidden to crush the honeycomb? Because there's a forbidden labor of threshing. One of the activities that was done in the Mishkan was threshing. And because that was one of the activities that was done in the Mishkan, it's forbidden to do on Shabbos. So how is threshing connected to crushing a honey out from a honeycomb? So the idea of threshing is that you have the kernel in the stalk, and through the animal threshing, it causes it separates it separates the
It's
shaft
work.
from the kernel.
It's work.
What? It separates the shaft from the kernel. So that's the idea of this forbidden labor. That you have the idea of this forbidden labor is that there's there's an entity there's something that's considered one entity. The stalk is just one entity, and you're causing it to become two different things. That you cause it to be a shaft and a kernel. So too is it by crushing honey. The honeycomb is just one thing that it's all together. By you crushing the honeycomb, it causes honey to be separate from the wax, which that's forbidden. Now let's see. Back inside the halacha. If you didn't crush the honeycomb before Shabbos, then the honey that flows out of the honeycomb on Shabbos is forbidden. Even though you're not crushing the honeycomb, the honey is just coming out by itself. It's still forbidden to have that honey on Shabbos. However, honey that flows out from a beehive is permissible, since honey that comes from a beehive is only forbidden rabbinically. So they didn't make a decree that the honey that flows by itself should be forbidden.
I have a question, Rabbi, about that.
Yeah.
Because even if it's flowing out of the hive, someone has to collect it. And is the collecting considered work, or I guess not? It's just gathering? I don't understand.
So is it when it's the honey, if it flows out by itself? I'm not, from my understanding of how it works, is that it'll just be in one spot. The honey will more or less be in one spot. So that's not a problem of
in order to use it, you have to have a container or something and collect it and move it. So that's considered okay.
Moving it, it wasn't a beehive is not connected to the ground.
Oh, okay.
So there's no problem of moving it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's go on to halacha yud. Now we're going to speak about
Rabbi
a different.
Lifshitz,
Yeah.
in relation to this, what happens if you collect, you have a piece of fruit that's full of juice, and the juice comes out of, I mean, you can't squeeze the, because that's also one of the forbidden melachot. So what happens if the fruit itself, if the juice comes out of the fruit by itself? Can you use the juice of the fruit?
Very good. Yeah.
I mean, can you use it on Shabbat, or do you have to leave it alone?
So halacha 12 is going to deal with your question. So maybe we'll deal with what we're going to discuss it later in today's class.
Okay.
Very good question. Let's see halacha 10. Now we're going to speak about a different forbidden labor. I try to give a little bit of a background of the different forbidden labors, just so you could have a little be a little familiar of the different forbidden labors of the 39 malachas. So far in this chapter, we spoke a little about the forbidden labor of kindling a fire. We spoke about the forbidden labor of cooking. And then we spoke about the forbidden labor of kneading. Today we spoke about the forbidden labor of reaping and the forbidden labor of threshing. Now we're going to speak about the forbidden labor of gathering, which is in Hebrew is called ma'amer. So what happened in the Mishkan what activity was there in the Mishkan that was by the tabernacle that was gathering? So after the produce was reaped, they would gather it all together and make a bundle of stocks. So this is a forbidden labor on Shabbos. This forbidden labor is by this is a forbidden labor according to the Torah only by things that grow from the ground, but rabbinically it applies even by things that don't grow from the ground. In general, this labor, I would say, this malacha is not so applicable. It not so common to have a question regarding this in Shabbos collecting. Most times there's a reason that it's permissible to gather. Just give an example. Even though that it's forbidden to gather fruit that is scattered around, but if you plan on if the fruit is not gathered, the fruit's going to get ruined, then it's permissible to gather the fruit. Or even if the fruit won't get ruined, but you want to serve it to your guests, it's permissible to gather the fruit. But after we learn the halacha, I'll bring a couple examples of the cases that it's forbidden to gather, some practical cases. So first of all, there's an important principle of this malacha is that fruit that is scattered in one spot, if it's all in one area, whether in the house or in a courtyard, then you're allowed to gather it. So if a container of blueberries or apple or just a bowl of fruit fall on the floor all in one spot, it's permissible to gather it. Dika tercha lekapsum, also lekapsum, the seichasal. However, if it's spread out in different if the fruit spread out in different places, one's in one spot and the other fruit is in a different spot, and it takes work to gather the fruit, then it's forbidden to gather the fruit into a basket. Rather, the only way you could pick up the fruit if they're very distant apart is if you pick up one fruit and then you eat it, and then you can pick up the second fruit, which is in a distant spot, and eat the other fruit. Now, when is this? The idea of gathering is by anything that grows from the ground. Then it's forbidden biblically. Not just if they're fruit, but anything that grows from the ground. So therefore, if a person is going to rake the leaves, that's going to be forbidden because of gathering. That even though you don't need the leaves, it would still be forbidden. It would still be forbidden to gather the leaves. If you're not planning on using the leaves for a compost. Even if you're not planning on using the leaves for a compost, it would still be forbidden. And how much more so would be forbidden if you're planning on using the leaves for a compost. Another case of where it would be forbidden to gather is if you have you want to make a bouquet of flowers. Putting a bouquet of flowers together in a flower pot or a vase is forbidden, even if it's fake flowers. Just the mere fact that you're combining all these flowers is forbidden because of ma'amar, combining different things together.
Non-germination, combining.
And this idea of this forbidden labor is even if you only have two things. You don't need to have many different, let's say, fruit. You don't have to have many different fruit that have to be gathered, but even just two fruit or two flowers, then it'll be considered the forbidden labor. It will be forbidden. Yeah, as I mentioned already, that a lot of times if you have something that falls on practically if fruit or some other item falls on the ground, to collect it is not forbidden, since it's usually either going to get ruined if it stays on the floor, and there's also the permission, and it's also permitted even if it wouldn't get ruined if you're going to have guests and the guests are going to use it. Okay, now we're going to go into now let's go to halacha yud aleph. What was that? Something in the hangout? Let me see. Okay. Halacha yud aleph goes back to the discussion of things that are forbidden because of they're under the umbrella of threshing. Yud aleph, kitnius v'kadema, shehem b'klipasim shekenim shavitim. Legumes, or more specifically, let's say peas, that are in their pod. If the peas are still, if the pods are edible, they're soft and they're also edible. It's permissible to open the pods and take out the peas from the pods, because it's like you're separating food from food, food from food, and they're not two separate things. This so this forbidden labor of under the category of threshing, there's it's forbidden to do what's called in Hebrew mafarik, which is
Separate.
to extract. This idea of extracting is only when you're dealing with two different things. But in this case, the pod and the pea are both food, it's considered one thing, and you're never causing two different things to come about through this action. So it's permissible to do on Shabbos. However, if the pods are dry and they're not edible anymore, then it's forbidden to take the peas out of the pods. I just want to point out that according to the Alter Rebbe, it's this idea of taking the peas out of the pods, even though the pods are edible, it still should be done in an unusual way by using your fingernails to open the pods, as opposed to just using your full hand. And likewise, you should be careful when you take nuts out of the green shell that is to them. And similarly, you should be careful when you take sesame seeds or any other seeds, let's say sunflower seeds, from their shell. That you should refrain from taking nuts out of their shell on Shabbos, and also seeds from their shell. The reason for this is because there's one idea is that there's extracting, and also the shells are not edible, they are muksa. So once you take the food out of it, it's very hard not to to be careful in the future afterwards not to move the shells, or to do the forbidden, or to be careful not to do the forbidden labor of bearer, which we're going to see later in this chapter about the forbidden labor of bearer, selecting. Okay, so that's halacha 11 told us that you should be careful when you take out legumes from their pods, and it's better to do it with your fingernails, to take out the pods, to take the legumes out of their pods with your fingernails, and you're only allowed to do it if the pods are edible. Now let's go into discussing what Ezra mentioned about the juice that comes from fruit. So let me ask, is it permissible to squeeze a lemon into a salad? You want to use as a part of your dressing, dress the salad with lemon juice, and you want to squeeze a lemon into the salad. Is that permissible?
I would guess not, because the liquid coming out, it then becomes separate from the lemon, which you wouldn't have eaten.
Right, that seems like a very, very good guess. However, the lemon, where was the juice when it was in when the juice was in the lemon juice while it was in the lemon is considered part of the lemon. It's considered a food. When the lemon juice is squeezed into the salad, it's also considered a food. So it never became a different entity. It never became from food to a drink, to a liquid. So in such a case, it would be permissible. As opposed to squeezing a lemon into your tea, it's causing it to come from being a food. While the lemon juice was in the lemon, it was considered a food. And when it comes into the tea, it becomes a part of a drink. It comes into a liquid. So that's forbidden.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
I thought that the squeezing action itself is a malacha that it has to be done before Shabbat.
So it depends on the case. If it's the squeezing is forbidden. Generally, squeezing is forbidden, but in certain scenarios, it's permissible. There are exceptions. Squeezing is a forbidden labor when when the liquid that's coming out is becoming liquid and not becoming
Remaining of food.
yeah. But the idea of squeezing is not limited only to food. But for instance, squeezing, well, I'll discuss a bit about it, I think, later in this chapter. Let's say squeezing a garment that's very wet, causing liquid to come out, or squeezing a towel. That's also forbidden. So let's see the halacha 12, which discusses about squeezing fruit. Aser lische peres litzarach mashkin. It's forbidden to squeeze fruit for the sake of the juice that is going to come out of the fruit. That when you want the juice to be a liquid. For the chain aser lische lemainim l'seich hamayim lasis mashash koyer lemonade. Lemonada. Therefore it's forbidden to squeeze a lemon into water to make lemonade. Since what you're doing is you're squeezing a fruit for the sake of the liquid. And there are those that forbid even just to suck on a fruit. And you're gonna suck out the liquid from the fruit. Let's say you have a grapefruit or a orange. That one would just like to, they don't want to eat the whole piece of orange or the whole piece of grapefruit, but they like to they enjoy sucking out the liquid from it. So there are those that forbid to do that on Shabbos. However, there are those that permit it. And that's, according to the Alter Rebbe, it's permissible. And likewise, it's the accepted custom in many communities nowadays. To we allow sucking a fruit since it's going directly into your mouth. And even to those that permit sucking on fruits into your mouth, they still say you should be careful with grapes. They should not suck on a grape to extract the liquid to suck on, so you'll get the liquid out of the grape, and then you're just going to throw away the peel of the grape. The reason why it's different by grapes is because grapes and olives are considered fruit that are generally used for liquid. They're more commonly used to become liquid. Most olives turn into olive oil, and most grapes turn into wine or grape juice, at least in the days of the Talmud. I'm not sure if that's true nowadays. Maybe other people know, but very possible it's still the same nowadays. So because that these fruits are mainly used for liquids, there's more of a concern that your intent of squeezing these fruits is for the liquid. So therefore, there's more stricter rules by grapes and olives.
Yossi, I'm sorry, am I correct in inferring that you're speaking only for Shabbos, not for weekdays?
Yeah, squeezing
Okay.
on Shabbos.
Thank you.
Rabbi Yossi?
Yeah,
If you prepared the lemon juice for your guests in advance and put it in a container on the table, do we now have a problem that you can use it for your salad but not for your tea?
very good point, Will. So when we're saying that you could use your lemon, you could squeeze your lemon for your salad, it has to go directly into the salad. It can't go into a bowl or a cup and then go into the salad. Because,
Okay, that settles it.
yeah,
That
Nice.
only refers to if you do it on Shabbos. If you do it before Shabbos.
Yeah, you do it before Shabbos, you're okay.
yeah. And of course, that's why, yeah. Or you could just there's some people just use lemon juice. Either way, either you could do before Shabbos or you could put it into food, whether it's in a salad or on a piece of fish. But in a liquid, to make lemonade or just to put it into your tea would be forbidden.
Even if it was already a juice before Shabbat?
Oh, if it's already a juice before Shabbat, it's permissible. It's
Okay.
totally, yeah.
That was the question I think he had.
No, I didn't, but okay. That's good, thanks.
You had asked the question, what if you had all of that stuff? Can you then put it before Shabbat? Can you then use it for salad or put it into your tea? And the answer is yes.
Yes, before.
'Cause it's already prepared before Shabbat.
Right, I think I was thinking of during Shabbos, but okay, fine.
Back inside the halacha, close to the end of halacha 12. However, if you don't need and you don't desire the liquid, if you don't need the liquid that comes out from the fruit, then it's permissible to squeeze the fruit. And therefore, it's permissible to squeeze a piece of lettuce or a cucumber that you don't plan on using, that you don't need the liquid that's coming out of the lettuce or the cucumber. And that water is just going to go to waste. It's just going to go to waste, that water that comes out of the lettuce.
Why would you squeeze it if you're not going to use the juice?
You don't want your piece of lettuce to be so wet. You want a drier piece of lettuce.
There are certain recipes for zucchini and eggplant where you do that, so it doesn't make the whole thing so wet, like lasagna or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this idea of squeezing when you don't need it is plays out in other scenarios as well. If a person is cutting a salad, cutting a fruit or a vegetable, even if some liquid is going to come out it's fine since they're not intending and they don't need the liquid that's going to come out of the fruit or the vegetable. If you're cutting an apple or you're cutting you're ripping apart small pieces of an orange for a child or a baby or a small young child or anyone that just you want small pieces of the orange. Even if liquid is going to, you're squeezing out liquid when you cut it, when you're making it into small pieces, it's permissible because you don't need the liquid that is coming from it. Even if you don't need the liquid to be squeezed out, but you're going to still use, it's still permissible to use the liquid. Let's say you're cutting a tomato and a lot of liquid comes out and you still want to put all that tomato juice in the salad. So it's permissible to use that. Yeah, it'd be permissible to use that, to use the juice, since you didn't intend to make for the liquid you didn't intend to do squeezing when you cut the tomato. When you're cutting a fruit or a vegetable, you should be careful that if you would want the liquid, in a case when a person would want the liquid, you should be careful not to press down very hard on a fruit or a liquid, because then you're causing a lot of liquid to come out, more than just what regularly happens when you cut a fruit or vegetable, and that's forbidden because you want the liquid. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next halacha. Halacha 13. This halacha is going to speak about, is it permissible for a lady that is nursing to pump on Shabbos? To pump milk on Shabbos. Says the halacha 12. Loi sikalach isha cholav midada l'seich hakais oy l'seich hakdera. Betinik es bina. A lady should not express milk from her breast into a cup or into a bowl for her baby to drink the milk. Drink the breast milk. However, it's permissible to express the breast milk in order that the baby will be able to latch on to the breast. V'aser lahatis machalava al eza davar l'refua b'makom she'im b'sakana. For light side up. And it's forbidden to for the milk to express the milk, the breast milk on something in order to heal, in order for a way of medication, a way of healing, in a situation that the illness is not a danger and there's not great pain. If there's just a sickness, but there's no danger, and it's not great pain, there's just a lower level of sickness, then it's forbidden to express milk on it. So over here we see that you're not allowed to let's woman's not allowed to express milk into a cup or into a bowl. However, if the baby is not able to nurse, and the only way that they're able to drink the breast milk is when it's pumped and when it's in a bottle. And a doctor says it's important for the baby at this state to have nursing milk, breast milk, then it's permissible to pump as long as you don't use an electric pump. And also it should be done, the pumping should be done in small amount at a time, only a teaspoon at a time, and then take a break and do another teaspoon. Okay, let's do one more halacha. Halacha 14. Mutter litain shuman karash al meichel cham, avapi shu nimuach. It is permissible to put congealed fat on a hot food, even though that the congealed fat is going to melt. Now, according to the Alter Rebbe and the Mishnah Berurah, it is forbidden to do so. To cause the congealed fat to melt, because it will be a problem of causing it to switch from a solid state to liquid state. Hashalag v'abarad ein meras k'neisem b'yadayim. Snow and hail, you're not allowed to crush it with your hands. This means to break it into small pieces in order that water should come out from the snow or from the hill. However, you're allowed to place snow or hail or also ice into a cup of wine or a cup of water in order that it should chill the beverage. And the ice will melt by itself. Since that you're not directly causing it to melt, you're not doing it with your own hands, it's just happening by itself, it's permissible. You should be careful during the winter not to have a cup of water left outside, and then it's possible that it could get partially frozen. I know this isn't so applicable in Florida, South Florida, but in places where it has a cold winter, you should be careful with this.
Not everybody in this class is from Florida.
Right, I know, but for
Boston
those
and
that are from
Minnesota.
South Florida, right. I understand.
Some people are not.
With the night before last week.
The Nito Yizar Shlo Yidakachem Ben Yodav Shlo Yehei Merasik. And if you use it to wash your hands, water that has some ice particles in it, you should be careful not to rub your hands in order that you shouldn't cause the ice to be crushed. You're allowed to break a piece of ice in order to take the water that's under it. However, if the ice is connected to the ground, then it will be forbidden. If the ice is on a river, you have a piece of ice on a river, you wouldn't be able to break that piece of ice. Or ice that's connected to the house. And to urinate on snow, you should be careful not to do so. Likewise, you should be careful not to urinate on mud, which that would be a problem of kneading, or on loose dirt, which that's also a problem of kneading. So just to mention, it's permissible to put ice in a cold beverage. If you have a lot of pieces of ices that are connected together, you're able to split them up. That's also permissible. As long, but you shouldn't crush ice into causing ice to turn into water. Okay, I think this is a good place to stop. So we'll stop here and wish everyone a good week.
Oh, I want to just ask a question pertaining
Sure.
to this very, I don't know, maybe it isn't pertaining to it, but it seems like it is to me. In the winter time, you know, when we put salt, sometimes it's down before when it's first falling the snow,
Right?
but sometimes it's after. But that will cause it to melt. That's not permissible?
So if it's a question of danger, since you're putting the salt, because it's slippery and it could cause danger, if there's no salt, it's permissible.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
good question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rabbi. But otherwise it wouldn't be all right, only because of the danger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Naomi,
Yes,
were you there this morning when everybody was having trouble getting in?
no, I don't take the first track.
Oh, I missed you. And I don't know where she is. I was missing you. Okay.